Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Movie Guy 2005. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough, movie review, re-review, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for the first two episodes of Rocko's Modern Life, which I have not seen this in forever, and I don't think I ever got to see the older episodes. I think I saw some of the later ones. Now, this was on, I believe, Nickelodeon from 1993 to 1996, about over 50 episodes. I always remember the theme song, which, again, I guess I saw the later ones because watching the first two episodes, this one, the theme song had a bit of a faster pace. It had a bit of a different tone to it. Because I always remember the Rocko's Modern Life, Rocko's Modern Life. But that's not how it was in these early bits, so I'm like, okay, I didn't know they had a different theme song. Like, it was the same lyrics, but like different tone. But yeah, I remember vaguely watching this. Now, we didn't have Nickelodeon back in the day. What would happen is, I've said this before, my family and I, we only had 4 channels. PBS, CBS, another form of CBS, and ABC. My aunt, she had cable, though. So what she would do is she would tape multiple VHS tapes and send it to us, whether it be Elf, the TV show, the sitcom, whether it be The Simpsons, whether it be X-Files, whether it be Nickelodeon stuff like Rocko's Modern Life or Ren and Stimpy. And she would just tape this stuff. And she didn't have to do that, but that was very nice of her to do so. So it was one of those things I always thank my aunt for introducing me to a lot of things without her realizing it. And then she didn't have to do that. So that was always very kind of her. Secrets of the Hidden Temple, I think it was like a game show on Nickelodeon, so that's how I was able to know that some of these things existed. Now, the idea of Rocko, he's a wallaby, he's from Australia, and he's moved here. He has this buddy who's a steer. There's other characters. This is one who's like a turtle, who's very kind of neurotic. There's these neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. They're frogs. I forget what the hell their characters' names were. I'm trying to remember, what was the... I think I wrote the name down. I forgot what it was. Anyway. And usually they're pretty harsh in their treatment to the other characters. And then he has a dog named Spunky. And it's one of those things like some Nickelodeon shows at the time where they were for kids, but there were times that they would push a bit in the humor, where the humor was a bit above what a kid could get or maybe should get. So sometimes it would like push it with either like the disgusting humor or even suggestive humor. And sometimes a bit surprising what they would get away with. Now, I know some of the people involved with this show actually would go on to work on SpongeBob SquarePants. And actually, one of the voices, Tom Kenny, would go on to voice SpongeBob. So, not all, but some of those guys that would go on to do this got their start in doing shows like this. Now, the guy who voices Rocko, I always forget it's Carlos, and I can't pronounce his last name, or I would butcher it. Who I always remember, he was the voice of Spyro in the video games. Never played the games, but I've seen people play them. I remember him as Deputy Garcia in Reno 911, which I love. The first couple seasons of Reno 911 I quite enjoy. And it was cool that they brought it back, but sadly only for a short time. But I did like that stuff. And Like, I always think of Deputy Garcia, and I'm like, that's such a different voice from Rocko. That definitely takes talent. A premise these episodes is pretty simple. Something, doing some day-to-day life, daily life, simpleton stuff, and things go wrong. And within these 20 minutes, there's about 2 stories per episode. I don't know if that's the way all the way through on the show, but in the early stages it were. So like in episode 1, it was an episode dealing with a broken vacuum, and an episode where he got fired. In episode 2, it was one where he went to a carnival, and then one where he went to the beach. Simple idea, and then show what could go wrong during all this stuff. And overall, I thought it was still kind of funny. I still enjoyed it. The voice work. Rocko just seems like a very easygoing guy. Wallaby, however you want to put it. That just wants to get through life, and he doesn't want to bother anybody. And he's just pretty level-headed, and his voice is rather calm, and these things just keep happening to him. So like the first episode, the first bit, vacuum cleaner's not working, and eventually dies, and they kind of get brainwashed into buying a new one, and the new one's able to do well. It can suck anything up, including even trees and almost a plane. And even at one point it goes loose and it's like sucking the puke out of their bodies. And eventually it dies, and his buddy, voiced by Tom Kenny, gets something. Oh, it's a chip. No, don't do that. And then it goes haywire again, until at the end you realize they're living in the vacuum, and apparently that's what everybody doing is. It sets everything up, and then they start living in the vacuum like it's a trailer park. Or the second part, Canned, where you have this neurotic turtle complain about the ink in comics. Rocko sees his boss who's picking his nose and fires Rocko. He doesn't have much supplies. His dog keeps licking his own saliva because his saliva goes through the dog bowl, then drinks it, then drips, and then drinks it again. So then Rocko has to go find a job. So one job is a tattoo place where a guy wants a tattoo in his mouth, and he accidentally swallows the guy, swallows Rocko. Some may be into that. Or plumber's assistant, which is just fixing his pants when it shows his butt crack. Need some help? Thank you. Need some help? Thank you. Need some help? Thank you. And Rocko just keeps lifting it up to fix so the butt crack ain't showing. Or there's a hotline. This is what I'm talking about, where they push it. There's a hotline, which is obviously a phone sex hotline. And Rocko's like, okay. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh. And then the person on the other end finds out is the female fraud neighbor. They realize who each other is, and then they shut the phone, close it. And there's like a sign that says, be courteous and be naughty. And I'm like, how the hell did they get away with... It's a fucking kid show, and this is your first episode, and one of them has a fucking hot, phone sex line joke. So it makes you wonder, like, how the hell they get away with some of this stuff. And eventually he goes into product testing, and his boss there is the male fraud neighbor who's a jerk. So he's doing all these things to screw with Rocko, but each test works out the best for him. A nose job fixes it. A gum that does something with your DNA, it grows a tree, is, oh, I got some shade, and I could get some other stuff here. But then when the fraud does it, it all goes wrong for him. Testing of hair, he gets like an Elvis or like a light bulb for him. At one point, gets like a saw, and as Rocko goes, oh, it's a buzz cut. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, oh, I should have thought of that. Oh, he's got a saw in his head. Oh, a buzzed head. Okay. I thought that was kind of clever. So eventually the fraud gets his comeuppance. Rocko doesn't get the job, doesn't keep the job, but isn't hurt. Finds a job at a comic shop. His old boss, who fired him before, goes in. And Rocko's like, okay, I'll do what you want. Here's your stuff, sir. Oh, I got this gum for you, too. So that old boss takes the gum, and all this beehive and bees attack him, and so Rocko's able to get a job and able to get comeuppance on that dickwad earlier. So I would say that one I liked a bit more, because the vacuum one was just kind of okay. It's just the hijinks of this vacuum. Either the old one dying and not doing what it's supposed to, or the new one. Some zany stuff, some fun sight gags here and there. Not every day you see a vacuum take the puke out of two people in the dog's body. That visual you see every day. But this one, it felt like there's a bit more of a story, a bit more of, okay, the one boss got his comeuppance, and, well, they both did. Both bosses who were jerks to him. Things were able to work out for Rocko. You still get some funny sight gags in there. Including some dads that, wow, they really pushed the limit to it. In episode 2, there's kind of the same thing, where the second one I liked more than the first. Is the first one is kind of him and his buddy go to a carnival, they go on some rides. Some of the rides go better than others. It was fine. Getting some decent, physical hijinks. This bit where he's supposed to hit this fraud and it finally flies off. After some events, the fraud finally comes down, and surprisingly, Rocko wins a prize. Actually, one dad from the earlier episode, the one with him getting fired. One funny dad was, there was a bit with a spider and spider kids. Well, after the episode ends, the Spider Kids are kind of looked at as actors, and some director goes, "You go home now." Oh yeah, you go home now. So they get out and they walk away. Okay, you see it. Yeah, go home now. Get the They don't say this, but they're like, "Get the hell out of here." So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, episode 2, like the carnival thing, the rides, the merry-go-rounds, they were fine. It's more episode 2, Sand in Your Navel, that I kind of had some fun with. First up, they love this dog licking his own saliva or his own sweat or his own stuff. They really like the dog doing that. I like the bit where it's so hot they gotta go to the beach, but then when they go, like, each parking lot is full, and the one parking lot that you get to is right next to their house. So they finally get to the beach. And again, nothing too, like, character-driven or anything. It's just, these are only, like, 20-minute episodes. When you split them into 2, they're only, like, 10 minutes apiece. So it definitely goes at a fast pace. It's never boring or anything. The stuff I remember is, like, at one point, he just thrown and stuck in this big woman's tits. And she's like, "How dare you?" I'm like, "You're the one that wanted him to put sunscreen on you, a total stranger. I'm not asking a total stranger to put sunscreen on me." But you see that in movies and stuff. The lady going, "Sir, could you put this sunscreen on my back?" I'm like, okay, shouldn't this be for your husband or boyfriend? But okay. You don't think saying that someone's going to think you're hitting on me? But I guess not. But something happens and he accidentally gets in her tits. I'm like, oh, lucky guy. And there's some funny dads. There's a guy with his dog, go fetch. When the dog comes back, he's holding a leg. I don't know whose leg, but I think that happens more than once too. I'm like, is this dog just ripping everybody's leg off? And it's never really thought back again. There's this bird that picks up fish and then gives it puts it in his mouth, goes over and sells it for money and goes back. I thought that was a funny gag. And then later swallows the dog, and then, well, Rocco's dog this time, and Rocco's got to stop it. There's some other funny gags. There's a kid, like this, I forget what animal or creature it was, but this kid making a sandcastle protects it. Just, you think he's making a sandcastle, but instead he gets 2 pieces of bread, and it's a sandwich. Get it? Sandwich. I get you. Okay. I'll admit, I kind of wish I'd seen that coming, but I'm like, okay, I kind of, as stupid as it may seem, I kind of laughed at that. Probably the funnier bit is, I didn't push in what they could do. There's a bit where he gets to, he gotta go get his dog, and there's a nude beach. So he looks over, and he's gotta pull his shorts off, and some guy comes in with like a sensor bar and goes, here you go. Then leaves. And there's a bit where he's looking, and when he runs into that same big titty lady again, and the sensor kind of falls, and he's got to pick it back up. And she's like, how dare you? Once again, and kicks his ass. Some may even enjoy that. Finds his dog, but it's in ice, takes the dog home. The dog's fine because it's pulled off, but Rocko got sunburned, and then that's the end of it. I think that episode, I think that was the first level of the Rocko's Modern Life video game. There was a video game for Super Nintendo. I never played it, but I remember seeing someone play it, and it looked abysmal. It's one of those things that I think the first level is you're on a beach, and what you have to do is the dog is always going, and you have to do stuff so the dog doesn't fall and drown, and the goal is to get it to this hydrant at the end of it. And it seems, I could be wrong, but it seems like that's what you do in every level. So it's not just like a platform where you beat things up. It's like you gotta guide your dog. It's like, really? But I think the first level is based on this. I think it was called Sand in Your Navel, that first level. So it didn't look like that much fun of a game. I know they did a special years later. Was it 2019? I know they did a Rocko's special, Static Clean, in 2019. That's what it was, 2019. Aired 23 years after the original series finale. So the special was 46 minutes long. And it seems like it's the same voice actor, so that's cool. So there you go. But yeah. This was on Netflix. Oh, okay, that's interesting that it was on Netflix. Oh, Nickelodeon sold the distribution rights of the special to Netflix. Huh. It was originally slated to premiere on Nickelodeon in 2018, but they didn't, and they sold it to Netflix. Wonder why. Go figure. I mean, to be fair, like, I know this is a stupid question. Is Nickelodeon still a thing? I just say, well, they still make SpongeBob, but like, I never hear anything else about Nickelodeon. Well, that's a lie, because the 2012 Ninja Turtles cartoon was Nickelodeon. But then that one gone. Was the other Ninja Turtles show on Nickelodeon as well? That might have been so. So that and SpongeBob would be the only two things I think of on Nickelodeon. Maybe there are. Maybe there's a ton of stuff on Nickelodeon. It's just that, I'm in my 40s, so I don't go on my way to check out Nickelodeon. So they're probably... So it is still a thing. But... So I just answered my own question. Never mind. But, yeah, I wonder why they didn't want to air... Oh, well. But, yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was twerky. It was cool to see these characters again. I mean, these early ones, definitely much more of Rocko and his dog. Again, I know the turtle it becomes a friend, but he's only in one of them. And it's not like he really knows Rocko, it's just he keeps talking like Woody Allen about ink on his fingers. And then his buddy... Imagine that these are 4 segments, he's in 2 of them. The one with the vacuum cleaner and then the one with the carnival. And it seems like a very supportive friend, very loyal friend. Nice job by Tom Kenny. I like the voice of what Carlos did for Rocko, the dog, spunky, cute dog. I know there's one episode where like the female fraud tries to seduce Rocko. Because she ain't getting any loving from her husband. So I mean, it does try to push her from time to time. It's not in these episodes, but I know that is an episode. So it's definitely one of those things that... I mean, Ren and Stimpy did the same thing, so it's not a shock. I doubt they do that stuff nowadays, especially after that... Which I shouldn't laugh, that Quiet on Set, where you find out how there's some dark times. I'm surprised Nickelodeon wasn't more affected by that. Unless you know something I don't. But I would think that documentary Quiet on Set would have affected Nickelodeon a lot more. Because, I mean, that was a tough documentary to watch. I know Fabio, a friend of mine, he was big into those older Nickelodeon shows. I don't think he's seen it. I don't know if Michael CP, if my friend saw it. Can't remember. But yeah. Definitely not the happiest of documentaries. But yeah. Anyway, sorry to get off topic on that, but... It's Nickelodeon. This is when they were worth the shit. I remember liking Doug. Early up. Of course, Ren and Stimpy, we all know. If you don't, you'll have to look it up yourself because I don't want to get into it. The creator, Ren and Stimpy, how much of a fucking creepazoid he was. That's the sad thing when you look up Nickelodeon. As far as I know, nothing with Rocko's Modern Life or SpongeBob SquarePants, but some others, like, again, the creator of Ren and Stimpy, people that ran some of those live-action Nickelodeon shows, there's sadly some creeps. Because they're creeps, and they see children, and they feel like they got the power to do anything they want, and they fucking don't. Or they can say they do, but sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. But yeah, sorry to go on that darker tip, but now, sadly, when I think of Nickelodeon, I think of that now. Just how it is. But this was fun to watch, these 2 episodes. Fun to... Again, I don't think I saw any of these before. Like I said, I think it's the later episodes. Even then, I vaguely remember them, so it'd be like watch them new for the first time. But yeah, this was a fun show. Likeable characters. And particularly the lead. Very quirky. Sometimes pushing the envelope of the sense of humor. And overall, a good time. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.